Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. Interesting day today, to say the least. So, Addie, it's a kind of overcast day. It looks like it's going to rain, I imagine. But the spiritual day was, I wouldn't say quite overcast. It kind of went a little better, per se. So we're looking for, as far as the heavenly host and those that are with the heavenly host, a better, more relaxed and positive and beneficial spiritual environment. Again, the spiritual centers, I guess the easiest way to say it is they're working for the deep state. Now, you have to remember that Trump is also part of the deep state. He's just a different side of the deep state. So that's going to cause a skew. Again, it's not in God they trust. It's in actually Satan, but in the partners they trust. So, my friend, I think as long as everything's going the way she's represented it, because being a homeless person is very difficult, especially if failure after failure after failure hits your life. And, you might characterize it a certain way. I mean, she isn't saying it's peaches and cream, but she says she's getting along and she's been able to secure a couple more bus tickets and she's moving up towards the New England area. So, again, it did work. Again, we paid $320, I think it was, or something like that, to get her to Charlotte. Because the other ticket just went away. They've been hitting me with the idea, well, if you would have spoke to us well, we may have helped. Get out of here. So the deep state was trying to take up a certain talking point for the Greyhound bus service that did what the deep state wanted them to do. Right. They can do it personally, they can do it through AI. It doesn't matter. They just put it in there and it does it. Spycraft AI does exist. So what it did was get her out of their demonic rulership. She was obviously cursed to die, whether it's a general curse or direct curse in Georgia. Die in place. You ever see homeless people? They sit on the same corner every day, sleep on the same corner. I guess now they kind of police it, but that's the way it used to be. Maybe in New York it's still like that. I don't know. Thank you, sir. So the demonic rulership was defeated in Georgia and Atlanta. They're cursing homeless people, and they speak them down. So what happened was, she went to Charlotte, and I noticed they had the system. You call this number, and apparently they put you on a waiting list, and it's a 100-person waiting list, and that's probably going to be a good few months. Well, because if you miss your spot, if again, the shelters usually have some sort of system that if you don't show up before they close the door, then you're out, and then they'll call the next person. I imagine that's how it works. But what she didn't do, and again, I'd rather for her to get home to New England than stay, anywhere else, because more likely that she's going to succeed. So, there were other shelters, including the LGBTQ shelter with the transgender woman minister. I love that because I know it's from God. The more you act up like you all do, the more of that's going to happen. So, so she's on her way to New York, I guess, or something. And I told her, I said, look, be careful where you land in New York. I said, it's not a nice place. And there's a lot of people that are homeless up there. And I don't know, as far as panhandling, everybody's panhandling at that point. So again, I'm not sure where that is for her. But this is the attraction. Here it is. Here it goes. This is what's happening. She's going to church up there. The same people from Texas. So I'm like, oh no. I said, they're not good for you. You just have to realize that if you're still homeless after a few months in a church, you need to find a new church. Because if you actually stay with a congregation will give you a few dollars and buy, unless you want to stay with the congregation, a lot of congregations, especially the Baptists, will let you stay. And within a few months, they're going to figure something out, especially if you're handing them $500 a month. They're going to say, okay, yeah, tithe, keep tithing. But look, we got a room over here for you. Just keep tithing. A good church will take that 500 and turn it around into a place for her to stay. And again, at a certain point, they wouldn't care. Here we got a license plate from Florida, Ever in 54. N54. EVR. Interesting, huh? Well, I'm not telling you that it has anything to do with anything. I'll tell you the truth, but it's interesting. So somebody abused that system. It was actually a functional system at one time. Run by good people. But by the time I saw it, it was already dirty, but then it did work a little bit. And of course, Satan then. What it's doing is actually sensitizing people to Satan's accusations and insults. But you don't see them until they do that. But they got mad because I could use it for other things. Predict the weather. Who's going to be president? What I'm supposed to say to fix things. So I don't know what it is. I just paid to stay a couple more weeks. So again, you can move your deep state thing around that. And I say deep state only because if you say you're private sector and say you're not deep state, if they're letting you do that, then you're deep state. The deep state doesn't really care who anybody is, as long as it does what it wants it to do. And again, it's a form of AI almost, before the AI existed. But again, it's anti-intelligence versus real intelligence. Because without emotion, positive emotion, nothing really works. Without having a positive reason for something, a real positive reason. not the old. If offending them brings them closer to God, then so be it. That's how they look at it. But they're not even human. That's the one thing I learned back then. And then of course I'm still me, so I probably it's not me. Again, I'm somebody who trusts. So, and we all are to a certain degree. So they're abusing that trust, and they're doing so with spycraft cover. But those clouds look cool in the distance. Ooh, I'm tired. I'm gonna walk though. I'm reducing my coffee, so of course it's first few days you're like, hey. I wasn't making strong coffee, but I was drinking like 4 cups. So I'm trying to bring it back down to 2, and then I'll weaken those a little bit. Where it's kind of loud, the highway, because it's all humid and closed in. Ooh, I'm tired. Pushing it. What it is the allergens. Makes me tired. Well, I didn't even look at what I looked online. I just paid. But she's pretty careful. She actually caught that I paid too much, but it doesn't look like they fixed it. There was like a couple days where I paid like an extra $20 a night or something. But she caught it and she wrote it up. So she's on her way to NYC, supposedly. It's better than going to Indiana. I forget where she told me, but she's like, I want to just get me to so-and-so Indiana. I'm like, what? I said, they hate homeless people there. They'll kill you. I've been to Indiana. I said, you need to get to a Democratic Party city. But even though, like, she doesn't realize, it's like my mother, when the state senator said he couldn't do anything for her exactly how she wanted him to do it, but he was pulling for her, and then it actually worked out. So I told her he was with you in spirit. It's what it kind of says. So again, when she got to Charlotte, they were there with her in spirit, and we were trying to get her actually to Connecticut. So that's kind of working out now. And she was just laying there, dying in place. I guess that kind of happened to me in Oklahoma City, right? Texas also. No, I can see those buoys are going to make a mess. You can't build an obstacle belt without building the other option, or putting the other option in there to have it observed, because it doesn't work. Because they're going to be able to breach that. They'll have have their own like coyote cartel seals. They'll have like frogmen. And they'll dive underneath and cut the anchors. So that's what it probably is. So you have to watch it. You have to alarm it because they can't. They have to breach it. And if the alarm goes off, then you bring in your people, and then they can't. And then you can stop the breach. I guess you have boats or something. Then you bring the boats in. So hopefully she finds peace in Connecticut. It's the way the homeless life is. It's very difficult to, get someplace established where you can start moving up again. Again, that years ago that happened for a lot of people. They're trying to put it on Biden, but no, the Trump era and strengthened the criminal secret societies. And, that also includes the church. It also includes bankers and corporations and all those things. So their curses are now projecting more. And of course, they're physically price gouging. I don't know if I'm walking all that much. It wasn't supposed to rain in this location. Radar said it was over there or over that way, I guess. Starting to sprinkle. So she hit a spot of energy and thought, and now she's moving forward. But then again, there it is again. Again, I told her, I can't tell you what church to go to, but I would recommend a different church. Because the goal was to get her out of that cycle that she got stuck in of being homeless. I mean, she did for many years live in a place. And that was the draw of that church, which is honorable to a certain degree, but, they're not there to help her. I was hoping like it was kind of deep state connected, and maybe if I disappear that they'll pick her up at that point and put her somewhere. If they were connecting and saying, no, don't take care of her because they want to put her in my life, It's just we're not, friendly like we used to be, kind of neighborly. Never any more than that, but she wouldn't have dared act the way she's been acting to me at times. I mean, she's doing better now. And I don't mean that as, me being this person that demands disrespect. I never did anything like that to her. And it wouldn't serve her because this bridge would be burnt completely. Right? We'd probably end up with like a restraining order, based upon some bullshit the deep state was able to cause. So like I said, I didn't mind spending the money if it had a positive outcome, the entire situation. And again, as positive as it could be. And I'm hoping she gets past New York and gets up to Connecticut because it's probably better. New York is just absolutely overwhelmed and also being very dangerous. I mean, hopefully that church can do something for her, but I'm sure, after trying 6 months in the other location, you're going to a more, cash-strapped location as far as what charity would be needed. I don't think it's a charity church. I think it's a healing church, but, I saw it kind of cult-like, and I can't make that decision from here, honestly. And, of course, God has to make that decision. But she left. While they're pushing her out from Santa Fe, that place drew her in. And that's why she left. And I told her, it sounds kind of weird to me. I said, you're homeless and you're paying them $500 a month. And you're still homeless months later. They're not homeless. That $500 buying something, right? For some of those people, it's just a dinner. Go out on the town, But again, she's moving in that direction theoretically. I can't tell you for sure. And it's not her. It's just homeless people, when these things happen, have big issues. Just, it's just it's hard on the mind. And you know what? The weird part is, I had to check myself a couple times because they're willing verbiage through her. And again, it's Satan, but they're willing verbiage through her to make her look like she's part of it. It's just bizarre. And that just shows you how far down she is. Oh, she'll say stuff that's so deep state it's not even funny. Wasn't supposed to rain till 8. Wasn't supposed to rain till 8 o'clock. It wasn't supposed to rain till 8. Well, yeah, it's supposed to rain tonight, but not now. It didn't show clear skies or no rain skies. All right, so let's take in some thoughts here. Do I seem distant? Maybe it's time to attack. Remember, when they think somebody's about ready to go off, that's when they attack, so they can cause it. They go, well, we're trying to test them. No, you're trying to cause it. That's when we see people pull guns out and just shoot people, or people run down the street naked, or pull their thingy out and then, pleasure themselves in front of everyone else. That's the desires of the people I'm speaking about. That's their heart's desire. Well, why is that our heart's desire? Because you're everything I say you all are. Oh, they're trying to operate me with the number 14. I just saw it. Well, I'll destroy your last one. And you have to understand something. If at a certain point God takes his hand off of you, and then you soar to the heights of wealth for evil purpose and for evil reasons, you're going to hell, all of you. It's better to stop now than it is to get into worse hells. There is a judgment system and a ranking system in hell as far as how bad your hells are. God told me when I woke up that outer darkness is passé. They're way past that because of the metaphysical evil that you all carry. Again, remember, healing versus curses. They go, you're cursing more. It's going through God, and it has to be done for a specific reason. Now, are you going through God? No, of course not. You're going through Satan, but you call that God, all of you. It's not the same thing. You're driving around into people's lives, all of you. Oh, you're doing that. You're doing that. That's how they are. They're just that ignorant. And remember, they are reprobate mind. So they harness the Bible and witchcraft to deceive the world. So they start cursing everybody into reprobate mind, and they say, God's given them over to reprobate mind. But you blocked them from a normal life, physically, psychologically, and metaphysically, which is spiritual. So they are the reprobate mind. And that may have been what God was looking for. Again, you see how I speak, and you see what it reveals. I'm only speaking what God has me speak. In actuality, a lot of it, God is speaking it. Now, I'm just a vessel. So you never know what I'm doing or God's doing at any given moment. We found a lot of stuff out about you here in Kansas. Not only us, I mean, there's some other people too. So again, part of fixing the homeless problem is stopping those people, no matter what they tell you you're doing. There are I wouldn't say a one person, but there are one group, crime wave. And they do that because then they come in and go, oh, you need us. We can help all of you. Now, it's kind of sprinkling and I'm still out in it. My friend was there with one of her daughters. And I guess, I don't know if it's her kids or the other sister's kids. Kid skinned himself today. I ran off for a Band-Aid. I was like, why did I buy two? I was supposed to buy a large Band-Aid and a small Band-Aid, so I have the different sizes. I didn't want to buy the variety because I wanted the ones that had the coating on it, the Neosporin. So I ended up the two of the same box, and I used one out of the box, and this kid skinned his knee, and I'm like, oh, this is what it's for. So I bought the box. Here, use this box, and I bought two. I only needed one. And you can cut these up into smaller Band-Aids. I didn't think of that before I gave it to her, right? I may have given it to her, though. Kid was bawling his eyes out on the phone to his aunt. Delivery or something? You trying to do what's the number?
Yeah. Hello?
Oh, you called on. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, trying to find. I help delivery people. That's an unforgiving job. But he was calling the person. Hopefully it's there. Sometimes they don't realize, just like here, like when you see two something, you think, okay, it's the second floor somewhere, right? No, there's a building one and a building two. So if you have a two, it could be anywhere in this building. They could actually you build an app or something where they actually show you where the apartment is. Probably make some money on that. I mean, it'd take a while, like GPS, to get it all up and running. But I mean, people do enough delivery for food that you probably could make a good buck off of that. To start showing, like when they show up, the map pops up and tells them where the. It could just be a map. It doesn't have to actually GPS them in for sure. I mean, but you could do that over time. That's probably a big industry they could come up with. I think some GPS does that on some locations. As long as a map pops up. They can figure it out probably. So it's funny that, Carrie Lake's under investigation. I think she figured it out. She's getting really aggressive. Now they got some crazy stuff going on there. Probably money and something else. You know, actually, believe it or not, when it comes to financial investigations of politicians and that kind of thing, it's very lax. It's not, you know, I mean, when they actually go after somebody, it's pretty big, and it could be a targeted hit. I'm not telling you that they're totally honest, but a lot of times you'll see stuff and they just won't even do anything. I think it's going to be about a 30-minute walk. I made a lot of bulgogi today. That's Korean beef, but I don't use beef. I use imitation. It's not cheap. It's like imitation steak, but it's like steak pieces. But I mean, it tastes great. It's fabulous. It's actually probably better than some of the meat you would use in bulgogi. But it's Korean dish, and made a bunch of it. Made some brown rice, but made it like wet, like or Asian rice, I guess they call it. You can't say Oriental anymore. It's like offensive. So I made some Asian rice. Asian rice and some other stuff. And that's pretty cool. Yummy, yummy. I make it I think maybe make it a little sweeter, but I try to, it's like a cross between galbi, which is Korean rib recipe, and bulgogi, which is, I guess, not chopped steak, but sliced steak kind of thing. Delicious. Ate too much, of course. That's the one thing about when there's bulgogi and when there's. So I'm out here walking, right? Or galbi. Galbi is bad. Galbi's usually for something big, like you wouldn't make it for Sunday, but you might make it for not Passover, Easter or something like that, or I guess maybe Passover. You wouldn't make it for Passover. It's like a big meal, the ribs, and then you usually eat a ton of it. And you're just like, you're just rolling around all night. I can even make imitation Doc Diddy tongue and everything. But my stomach hasn't been right since Texas. And I think they started when I was in Oklahoma the first time. And they may have started before that. I don't know. They were drugging me. There's no doubt. That's what ate up my stomach. That's what's happening out there with some of the crazy people that go crazy. Shoot people and everything. You have to rewire your mind. It takes a long time. But once you do, that stuff is almost ineffective. I mean, it still makes you sick, but not for the major thing that they're looking for. I mean, they're sick people. They just steer everybody that they can into crime, saying, well, they're inferior because we could steer them into crime and we could make them poor. Okay, Satan. Remember, there's Satan incarnate on the planet. Satan doesn't have any entrance into your planet without Satan incarnates. All right. So let's hopefully my friend gets back to Connecticut sometime and doesn't get bogged down in New York. It's just not a good thing. I could kill her. All because she's trying to attend a church that really I don't think cares about her at all. Could be a deep state church, even though, They didn't take care of her because they made it told her, don't take care of her. She said, like, in Texas at one point, they said, you're trespassed in every store. She was like, she was panhandling in front of a mall, a strip mall or something. But I mean, it involved like a big box stores and stuff. And they like jumped out and they're like, you're trespassing every store in here. And I don't know if she was stealing or anything. I don't know what she was doing. You know, I don't know if it was valid or not valid. And they grabbed her and they threw her in the pokey or whatever. And then I guess she fled. Hopefully she didn't flee any type of real charge. But again, when you're homeless and disabled, something they've actively tried to put into my life. Well, hopefully she gets somewhere and things are taken care of. It's just a much better place where she's going because there's probably not a whole bunch of homeless people there. She has her father there. And, you know, I think there's some friends that she was able to connect with. I just wish she could get to a real church. Just, you know, it's a mess. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there are no real churches left. Maybe they do whatever the thing tells them to do, or whoever, you know, the partner tells them to do, or whatever, not whoever. All right, stay peaceful. Praise God.